Right, I'm fed up. I've only been on Top Gear 4 times, and this is the third time I've had to mention BM Ruddy W. I feel an advertisement coming on. In the compact executive car class, the BMW 3 Series has been the benchmark for as long as anybody can remember. Everybody knows somebody who has and loves the BMW 3 Series. Now, I know it's a great car, but frankly, I'm getting a bit bored with it. And so's Lexus. Who? You know, Lexus, the luxury division of Toyota, possibly the cockiest car company in the world. But with good reason, actually. When the IS200 luxury barge was launched back in 1990, it made a huge dent in the Mercedes S-Class. And there's since been a slightly smaller Lexus, the GS300, and that's pretty good as well. But now they think they can take on the burgers of Bavaria. Excellent. This is the IS200. Lexus calls it Individual Athlete Sedan. They still seem to be having a bit of difficulty translating the instruction leaflet. Its designer, Nobuaki Katayama, took as his starting point a humble Toyota, but he developed this Lexus version specifically for Europe. The exterior styling is terrific, I reckon, but it's even more interesting on the inside. It's decently spacious and the driving position is quite purposeful. All the controls fall easily to hand. Dum-de-dum-de-dum-de-dum. Now, Lexus wanted to do something really different with the interior, but was stuck for an idea. And then one of Katayama's designers sneaked a quick look at his wristwatch, hoping it was time to go home. And he had a brilliant idea. I've borrowed one of Tiff's watches so that we can reconstruct this historic moment in automotive interior design. Revolting, isn't it? I quite like the dashboard, though. The watch theme continues with these air conditioning controls. It's a nice idea, but somehow the overall effect is a bit techno-nerdy. Have a look at this satellite navigation display. Seems to have been modelled on Roger Moore's eyebrow. And, of course, it's got a remote control. Why? Somehow this is an interior for people who know how to program their videos, if you know what I mean. And something else. It's a bit crunchy. I like my knobs to feel really good, like they do on my Roberts radio. But the Japanese don't seem to be able to do this. I wonder if it's because they grew up with all those Diddy Sonys. I've actually met the man responsible for this car, and his credentials are pretty good. He liked to race cars as a youth, and he believes cars should be fun to drive. For some, he says, a car is like shoes, a transport system. But some people want pleasure from driving. Well, I happen to be rather fond of my shoes, but I know what he means. And on paper it looks quite good. A 2-litre straight-six engine with variable valve timing, driving the rear wheels, limited slip differential, double wishbone suspension all round, the choice of a 6-speed manual or, if you prefer, an intelligent and adaptive 4-speed automatic. The IS200 develops 155 brake horsepower, just enough, says Katayama, for the enthusiastic driver. And he's right, it's just enough. Just. It's a little bit gutless at low revs, but once you've got about 4,500 on the clock, it all becomes much more interesting and lively. I think it's something to do with the variable valve timing. It's the sort of engine that cries out to be thrashed a little bit. There's nothing wrong with that. It's a fine engine. It's a fine gearbox as well, snicking really precisely between the ratios and spoiled only by a rather curious thunk from the transmission as you do it. The suspension is firm, a little bit crashy maybe on really rough roads, but otherwise fine. And the steering is lovely, really, really nicely weighted. You do get the impression that this is a car designed by people who enjoy the simple sensations of driving. Deeply despise about the IS200. Select reverse. Yes, I know it's reverse, because we're going backwards. Shut up. It's a car, not a microwave. Right, pay attention everyone. It's serious new car assessment time. Yes. Now, I said Lexus were cocky, and they are. Never mind the Audi A4 or the deeply lovely Alfa Romeo 156 or even our own dead posh Rover 75, Lexus is after a sizable chunk of BMW 3 Series sales with this car. And think how many people have failed to do that in the past. But it's almost there. It really is. It doesn't quite have the integrity of the BMW, not quite, and I still find the interior just a little bit cheesy, to be honest, and the whole image is a bit too in your face. Now, what was it my mate Katayama was saying? Oh yes, that he wanted this car to be really good to drive. And it is really good to drive. When was the last time anybody on this programme ever said that about what is a Toyota?
Next week, James May